Welcome back to the Brainy Bee Book Club. Today we're diving deep into a book that has sparked vital conversations among parents, educators, and young people alike. Jonathan Haidt's The Anxious Generation: How the Great Rewiring of Childhood is Causing an Epidemic of Mental Illness. Published in 2024, this work presents a compelling, research-backed argument for the dramatic decline in adolescent mental health observed in recent years. Haidt's central thesis is that the significant rise in anxiety, depression, and self-harm among young people, particularly those born after 1995, Gen Z, is primarily due to a profound societal transformation he calls the Great Rewiring of Childhood. This rewiring involves two concurrent and damaging trends: an increasing tendency to overprotect children in the physical world, and, paradoxically, an underprotection of children in the virtual world. The decline of the play-based childhood. Haidt meticulously unpacks the historical context, starting with what he defines as a, quote, play-based childhood. For millennia, and even until relatively recently, childhood was characterized by ample opportunities for unsupervised free play in the real world. This kind of play, especially risky outdoor activities, was not merely entertainment. It was, as Haidt puts it, the work of childhood. Through such experiences, children naturally developed crucial social, cognitive, and emotional skills. They learned self-governance, how to make joint decisions, and how to resolve disputes without constant adult intervention. Critically, this engagement with real-world challenges fostered what Haidt, drawing on Nassim Taleb's work, calls anti-fragility, the capacity to grow stronger and learn from stressors and setbacks, rather than being broken by them. This active, explorative engagement set children's brains into a discover mode, where curiosity and openness predominated. However, Haidt argues that this vital, play-based childhood began to decline well before the advent of smartphones, largely due to a well-intentioned, yet ultimately detrimental shift towards overprotecting children and restricting their autonomy in the real world. This safety ISM, driven by factors like media sensationalism about rare dangers and an increased focus on competitive college admissions, led to an adult-managed approach to childhood, often termed concerted cultivation. Parents, particularly in higher income brackets, began to view their children as precious and delicate race cars, filling their schedules with adult-led enrichment activities that left little room for unstructured play. This curtailment of real-world independence inadvertently deprived children of the experiences needed to develop resilience and shifted their default brain setting towards a defend mode, a state of hypervigilance for threats associated with chronic anxiety. The rise of the phone-based childhood. The four foundational harms. The second, and perhaps most impactful, aspect of the Great Rewiring is the dramatic rise of the phone-based childhood. This era truly began around 2010 to 2015, with the widespread adoption of smartphones, high-speed internet, and a new generation of social media platforms. Haidt identifies four critical, foundational harms that stem from this pervasive digital immersion. 1. Social deprivation. Despite being connected online, adolescents experience a profound reduction in meaningful, face-to-face social interaction. The mere presence of a smartphone can diminish the quality and intimacy of in-person conversations, as individuals are constantly pulled away by notifications or the urge to check their devices. This leads to a pervasive sense of loneliness and shallow relationships, even among college students who appear to be surrounded by peers. The book highlights that while social media allows for a quantity of connections, it significantly reduces their quality. 2. Sleep deprivation. Smartphones and other internet-connected devices have become ubiquitous in bedrooms, severely disrupting adolescent sleep patterns. The blue light emitted by screens suppresses melatonin production, signaling to the brain that it's daytime. Moreover, the highly stimulating nature of apps, from video games to social media feeds, keeps young people awake, competing directly with sleep. This chronic lack of adequate sleep, crucial for healthy brain development, is a major contributor to the surge in mental health issues. 3. Attention fragmentation. The digital world, by design, bombards young people with constant notifications and an infinite scroll of content, deliberately fragmenting their attention. Haidt vividly compares this to a Kurt Vonnegut dystopia, where constant interruptions prevent sustained, deep thinking. Studies show that the mere presence of a smartphone, even if unused, reduces cognitive capacity, making it harder for students to focus in class and perform tasks requiring fluid intelligence and working memory. This constant mental toggling is likely leaving lasting marks on developing brains. 4. Addiction. Perhaps the most insidious harm is the deliberate engineering of social media platforms and games to be addictive. Drawing on behaviorist psychology, Haidt explains how features like variable ratio reinforcement schedules and social validation feedback loops exploit human psychological vulnerabilities, particularly the teenage brain's developing reward system. Internal tech company documents reveal a conscious understanding of how to hook young users, leading to compulsive usage that often overrides conscious desires, akin to gambling addictions, gendered impacts, and spiritual degradation. The book highlights that while both boys and girls are affected, the impacts manifest differently. Girls, in particular, are disproportionately harmed by social media. Haidt cites evidence of increased social comparison, driven by curated highlight reels and beauty filters, leading to body image issues, perfectionism, and self-criticism. Girls are also more vulnerable to relational aggression, cyberbullying, exclusion, and phenomena like emotional contagion and sociogenic illnesses, where mental health symptoms or unusual tics can spread rapidly through online networks. For boys, the mental health decline, though perhaps less sudden in some metrics, is characterized by a withdrawal from the real world into virtual ones. Haidt describes a push-pull dynamic, a push away from a real world that has become less hospitable to boys since the 1970s, e.g., decline in physical jobs, male role models in schools, and a pull into digital realms that offer easily accessible agency-building activities like video games and pornography. While not all gaming is harmful, a significant percentage of boys develop problematic or addictive use, leading to disengagement from school, work, and real-world relationships. Beyond psychological and social harms, Haidt argues for a spiritual degradation caused by the phone-based existence. He contrasts modern digital life with ancient wisdom traditions, identifying 6 spiritual practices undermined by constant screen engagement: shared sacredness, collective experiences, embodiment, physical presence, stillness and focus, meditation, quiet reflection, self-transcendence, losing oneself in something larger, being slow to anger and quick to forgive, and finding awe in nature. The online world, with its focus on self-presentation, judgment, and constant stimulation, is presented as antithetical to these practices, making it harder for individuals to find shared meaning and purpose. Collective action for healthier childhood. Haidt asserts that addressing this crisis requires more than individual effort. It demands collective action. Parents, schools, governments, and tech companies are often caught in collective action problems, traps where individual rational choices lead to negative outcomes for the group as a whole. For instance, a single parent might fear their child will be ostracized if they don't have a smartphone, even if they know it's harmful. To break these traps, Haidt proposes 4 foundational reforms. 1. No smartphones before high school, around age 14, encouraging basic phones without internet access for younger children. 2. No social media before age 16, protecting adolescents during their most vulnerable period of brain development. 3. Phone-free schools, implementing policies where all personal devices are stored away during the school day to improve focus, learning, and in-person social dynamics. 4. More independent play and responsibility, actively restoring opportunities for unsupervised play and genuine responsibilities in the real world for children of all ages. The book calls upon governments to enact legislation like a duty of care for tech companies and reasonable childhood independence laws to support parents who encourage more freedom for their children. Tech companies are urged to redesign their platforms to be less addictive and exploitative. Schools have a crucial role in creating phone-free environments and incorporating more free play. Parents are empowered to coordinate their efforts, model healthy digital habits, and delay device acquisition. Haidt also acknowledges the powerful agency of Gen Z themselves, noting their capacity to organize and advocate for systemic change using the very tools that have impacted them. In closing, Haidt emphasizes the urgency of the situation, stating that the phone-based childhood is, quote, a major contributor to the international epidemic of mental illness. He provides a roadmap for reclaiming human life for human beings in all generations, starting with bringing childhood back to earth. The message is clear. It's time to end the experiment and actively shape a healthier developmental path for our children. For our Brainy Bee Book Club listeners, we cannot recommend The Anxious Generation highly enough. Jonathan Haidt's meticulous research and clear arguments provide an indispensable framework for understanding one of the most pressing challenges facing young people today. Reading this book will not only deepen your comprehension of how technology is reshaping human development, but also equip you with concrete, actionable ideas for fostering resilience, joy, and genuine connection in the lives of children and adolescents. It's a compelling call to collective action that offers hope and practical guidance for building a healthier, more grounded future.